Alright, let's just dive into this one. So we've got Temur Fires here. This is our second time playing through with this one. We got really close to a 5-0 last time. Deck felt just consistent and like it had a really good proactive game plan. So Fires of Invention, for those not familiar, is a card that's seen some play in Standard, and we're kind of porting that over to Pioneer. It says you can only cast spells on your turn and only 2 spells per turn, but cards that have converted mana cost equal to or less than the number of lands you control, you get to play for free. So the game plan is you get this Fires into play, and then on turn 5, ideally you play Cavalier of Gales and Cavalier of Flame, and then you use your Cavalier of Flame's activated ability right away because you didn't pay mana for it thanks to Fires, and give both of these things extra attack and haste and just run people down very quickly. Past this game plan, we're just kind of a mid-range deck. We've got Gilded Goose along with a smattering of adventure creatures to stay alive early. We've got Oko and Rogue Refiner, which is just good magic cards. And we've got Sweltering Suns here, which is a sweeper that also cycles. So last time we played against a bunch of graveyard decks, and we kind of wish this was Anger of the Gods, but I'm playing Sweltering Suns again because this format's got a lot of variety in it, and I think unless the format becomes super narrow around explicitly graveyard decks, I think the cycle on Sweltering Suns is pretty valuable, especially considering cycling this does not count as one of your 2 spells when you have Fires of Invention out, so it's kind of a sweet interaction there. Had a bunch of resubs. Danon, welcome back. I appreciate it. And Jared, thanks for the 3rd of the year. All right. Let's pop on in here, shall we? For people that are my morning regulars, I'll be here tomorrow morning as well per usual, but Thursday morning I'm going to be off. I've got an appointment. I'll be here Thursday afternoon. I think I'm going to start like sometime between 11 a.m. and noon, most likely. But Thursday morning I will not be here. I'll be here tomorrow and Friday morning though. This is the good non-rotating format. Yep. There's one lone singleton modern deck left in the queue that we will probably get to around the beginning of next month. Turn to Oko. Sign me up. Yep. And you get a turn to Oko, and you get a turn to Oko. Everybody gets a turn to Oko. Yep. Welcome to the party. It's all elks, chat. It's all elks from here on out. Simic Devotion is very popular. Yeah, there's not only the Devotion variations, but there's more aggressive Stompy variation as well. Playing like Steel Leaf Champion and stuff. Let's see where they consider the deck to be at the moment. Maybe. Do we have PTQ list yet? They didn't post PTQ list yesterday, and I was really annoyed. There were 2 PTQs and a challenge over the weekend, and they just like haven't posted the deck list. I would say I'm surprised that that's a manual process and it's not automated, but this is Wizards of the Coast, so I'm not surprised. Hey, Mana Flood Gaming, thanks for the biddies. Hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday wherever you're at. Brazen Borrower is real good. Card's basically a staple in every format. Heyo. Mana Flood, if you feel like taking a peek at the deck queue, you can let me know a deck in there you'd like to see a little bit sooner. I always encourage folks that donate dollars or cheer bits to bump something up in there. The people that support my stuff kind of dictate what we do and when we do it around here because I appreciate them. Yep. So I could Fires next turn, but the problem with casting Fires this turn is I have to use my food to do that. And if I use my food, I can't turn it into a 3/3. So I think I'm going to Rogue Refiner and then make this a 3/3. Let's play a little defense here. Yeah. Hopefully we just like hit a red source next turn and we get to go like Fires into Rogue Refiner again. Would be great. I'm interested to see what this matchup is like. We've got some Hour of Devastation in the sideboard. For mono yellow in Mythgard. Sounds great, Scissor. Got it. Thanks for the biddies. Is there merit to elking the tracker? If I elk the tracker, my Oko can die. That's part of the problem that I was trying to avoid. No, he's just dead on board. It's actually kind of funny. Fires is probably better in Pioneer right now than it is in Standard, just because of how good God we just got dismantled. Well, look at this completely reasonable castable card. See? Completely reasonable and castable. Did I play this bird back out? I'm just doing this next turn, right? I think I'm just passing. I guess I could play it in chump block. I'm going to play it in chump block and just use my mana. Although I guess I could play it next turn after this. With this sequence, I can Sweltering Suns plus Crack the Food next turn. Jeskai Feather sounds great, Mana Flood. And thanks for the biddies. Okay. They have Spell Pierce, I get punished for this line. Okay. I get to end step Brazen Borrower here, but then next turn I get to play double Cavalier plus eat a food. Yeah, I agree. We cannot beat Spell Pierce. Shouldn't think about it. Gosh, Mutavault is so good. Big thank you for always providing an awesome stream, and to your subscriber Invictus for gifting me a tier 1 sub. Hey, yeah, Invictus is great. Alright, so what am I doing here? Start with this and see where we go. Alright, I think I'm in for another land here, actually. I'm gonna keep this. Then I'm going to have a blocker, and I'm going to be able to gain 3. So able to go block. Yeah, we're in a little bit of trouble here. I think I'm actually keeping these Bonecrusher Giants. I think I'm actually happy with all of that. I'm going to go ahead and activate this. I'm going to go ahead and attack Oko here with the flying threat, which they can obviously flash in Brazen Borrower to block. But then, if I don't attack this, it's making a 3/3 next turn anyway, so I might as well try and get this off the table. We can make it out of this next turn alive. Things look okay for us. Chance they have another Oko in hand, non-zero. But like, just leaving my Cavalier in play also isn't great for me, so... No, I can block the Tireless Tracker. So right now on board, assuming this dies, I take 8. So I can go block here and then take 3, 3, and 2. And depending on like if they have blank here, we could potentially kill them on the backswing if they get too aggressive. White might get good cards in Theros. I needed a joke this morning. Yeah, we cannot stomp here. We've played our 2 spells for the turn. Jeff, is it considered poor form to time people out so I could get ahead the shillings count? It is, Punchworthy. So Borrower's going to flash in here. He's going to chump block. And this makes sense because it's all the same to them, right? Like, the Borrower is a 3/1, but Oko is also making a 3-power creature, so it's kind of a wash. So, dead to a Stiff Breeze here. Any removal? Does that do it? Yeah, that's exactly lethal, right? Because they get to animate a land, and then animate a food, and then I take 9 exactly through a blocker. It's unfortunate. Yeah, I think if we'd have been on the play here, we might have made it out, but on the draw, we were a little bit too slow. Hour of Devastation sounds great. Bonecrusher's probably good. Brazen Borrower is all that useful. Trim these 2. Sweltering Suns actually seems pretty reasonable here. It was the reason we were in that game. Let's give... oh, did I cut too many? Oh, yeah, I'm only boarding in 3 cards. Leave a Rogue Refiner in. I like it. Hey, Kyle. Yep. My editor just messaged me back and said it should be up on Thursday. What if we just remove the color from the color palette? Yeah, moving forward, there will be no more green cards. Magic is now a 4-color game. I'm actually retiring the article previews channel set. That's not something I'm going to be doing anymore. I'm not rating consistently anyways, and it's no longer one of the selling points for subbing, so I'm taking it down. Opponent must have had some IRL thing pop up. They paused for a long bit in that first game, and now they're taking almost the full sideboarding amount. This is just not good enough, right? I'm not convinced that these Aether Hubs are worthwhile. I think Rogue Refiner's playable without any other energy cards. On that one, I guess. Yeah, I agree, Kingdroids. And that's why this card was so offensive when energy was around in standard, because just the rate on this card has been good. Yeah, Pioneer viewership's actually been pretty solid, Brad. Arena Magic viewership as a whole is down for me in the last, not even just for me, in the game category in general. But Pioneer's held pretty solid. In fact, depending on how arena numbers look for the rest of the week, I might go back to doing some extra Pioneer again starting next week. Just gonna go ahead and clear out these dorks so I don't get turn 3 Nased. We'll see how things go. I'm also, Historic's been okay, but I'm also, just kind of over how, kind of over all the green in that format for the time being. Playing against once and Veil just doesn't feel like real life. Oh, you know what? I should have played the island there, because if I draw another blue source next turn, I could Castle Vantress. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Loco. Pioneer's great buy it stuff. It is very reasonable. Arena hype dropping, you think? Yeah, definitely. I mean, hype surrounding things like that is definitely at its peak. I wouldn't be surprised if as far as Magic hype is concerned, the peak was January of this year. Would not shock me if that was the local maximum for a long while. The formats at that time were great. Arena just hit open beta. There's a lot of hype surrounding it. Feels like they've mismanaged a lot of small details since then. Wow, way to eat my food. Brazen Borrower is that guy that always eats your stuff out of the fridge at work. Now, I would quantify 8 as a critical mass, Seth. Especially when you consider, our 5-drops draw other cards. So, our 5-drops have the ability to draw more 5-drops. Yikes. Arena would be at a low point content-wise, even if the ELD release hadn't been a steaming dumpster fire. The format isn't new anymore. Yeah, that's true to a degree. I mean, like, if they had properly managed and curated it, like, Historic would be a real option, though, at this point. So, like, they could have managed it in a way that, like, there could still be... Could be more interest than we have, essentially. They shocked that in, so they have, like, a counterspell here. I'm gonna elk this, just so it's not a problem later. Yeah, I agree, DMS. I think there's some burnout for a variety of reasons. I also think part of it is just the constant product releases too. I don't think that's been helpful. I mean, I think anyone saying Magic is dying is very silly. But I do also think that, like, the point we were at in January of this year is higher than the point that we're at now, and I don't think it's a stretch to say that, like, that's going to be a maximum for a while. Oh, you know what? I should play this land because we get Mystical Disputed here. When am I supposed to play this Oko around Spell Pierce? They shocked in this. I wonder if they have another borrower here. Wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. Okay, I mean, like, this isn't the end of the world, right? Like, they get to kill Oko and deal me 4, but, like, I get to draw another card with Cavalier, so, like, that's nice. One thing I've had trouble coming to terms with as a purely paper player is the multiple platforms now. How does multiple platforms impact you as a paper player? I'm not sure I understand. So this is 13 and we're at 14. Sure, for people only interested in people who are only interested in playing Magic to play Magic and not for the social aspect, like, digital Magic is far superior. In my opinion, the only reason to play paper Magic is for the social aspect. If your interest is in just playing the game, it is far more efficient to play the game digitally than it is in paper. Am I actually dead here? That was maybe a little... I could stomp this, gain 3, go to 10, block here. I guess I'm technically going to 1 if they have nothing. Yeah, maybe I should. I'm, like, putting these back and shuffling and drawing a random. Yeah, I guess I could take 1 draw there. Maybe not 100% dead there. Likely dead, but maybe not 100% dead. Thanks for the 14 months, Jensen. I think that's kind of a cop-out, Scooter. I think a lot of those people tend to, like, ebb and flow as far as paper Magic especially goes, because, like, paper Magic's just a huge commitment, not only in time but also in money. So, like, it's very common for people to, like, get in and get out. And I think rather than saying Arena's the reason people stopped playing paper, I think what's likely the case in a lot of places is Arena and Magic Online are the reasons those people are still playing Magic. I think there's a real chance that people who are quitting paper for Arena, they would have quit paper regardless, and they would just not be playing Magic instead of still playing some digitally. Yeah, and I also know that that's the case, that like Arena brought a ton of people back into Magic who once played because they didn't have the commitment and the energy to like play paper anymore. Like especially people with kids, right? Like the ability to like spend 4 hours or 5 hours going to F&M. Like, I mean, when I was in grad school, we used to go to Magic, 2 or 3 nights a week, and like we'd play Magic, we'd go out to eat after, and we'd go home and pass out. Like that was just what we did. But like now with 2 kids, like that's just like not possible even 1 day a week. Razor Rocks, thanks for the Prime support. I appreciate that. I play paper Magic when the format is good. If the format sucks, I don't want to spend a bunch of money on cards on time. Yeah. Yeah, and Standard, I think especially Standard, I would be surprised, I wouldn't be surprised if consumer confidence in paper Magic is irreparably damaged at this point. I think it is likely going to take years for a lot of people to ever trust paper Standard now. Like, we had the mess that was Kaladesh, and then, like, we had this glimmer of hope with GRN, and then, like, War into Field of the Dead into Eldraine was just, like, bam, 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 like, constant string of dumpster fires again. Although, to be fair, digital Magic's not necessarily that much cheaper either. Brazen Borrowers are like 30 tickets right now. Buy list values for modern cards have tanked. Well, I think part of that, Hyder, it doesn't have to do with lack of interest, so much lack of interest in Magic, so much as lack of interest in Modern. We're dead, right? They're just going to despair and empty my hand here. I didn't really play Standard during Kaladesh, so I don't really have a good basis to give there. I think I'm bringing in Hour of Devastation, at least a couple. Sold a ton of modern cards to buy into more Pioneer decks. Yeah, I think a lot of people have done that. Like I've talked about, and this is why I'm sure people have been super salty about my modern videos on YouTube lately. Like, I think there's a lot of people who are just like, they were just stuck with modern. Like they had no desire to play Standard. They didn't want to play a rotating format, but like they didn't really love the modern play patterns, but like they tolerated them because Magic's a great game. And like, now that Pioneer's an option, they're like, oh, I don't have to tolerate modern anymore because I have this alternative. So like, everybody who's not like, yeah, Tron, yeah, Mox Opal, yeah, Blood Moon, like, I don't know many people who love those effects, who love those cards. Like, I know people who like stomached having to deal with those cards so they could play modern because it let them play Magic, but like, genuinely don't really know people that's like their desire to have happen to them every other round. And like, Pioneer's definitely not perfect, But, like, I like how they're approaching managing the ban list in Pioneer so far. And I also think that just, like, you know, the things that are, like, medium that happen here are, like, much more tolerably medium than, like, what's happened in Modern for forever. Hey, Sarnak. Thanks for the 12 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Modern got pretty rancid. It's been rancid for a long time. I think Pioneer stripped the rose-colored glasses off of people's faces, basically. Outro to Pierce. Get you a sword to go with that shield. Thanks for keeping me around. I think the Exodus Dramatic is overrated. Nah, I'm gonna beat on my chest and talk about my feelings. Your feelings don't matter. Yeah, there aren't really, like, I mean, I don't know. I was gonna say there's not objective metrics for it, but you can, like, go look at Modern tournament attendance. Like, look at the last couple of Modern Grand Prix and Opens and their size versus Modern Grand Prix and Opens a year ago or 2 years ago and compare. Hey, thanks for the tip into the Frozen Sky. I appreciate it. Why do they need to fix Modern? I wasn't sure if a historic FAMS was a build-around or not, since I don't have a specific list. Tell me if you need more money. Though, that actually covers a build-around perfect, Sky. Build-arounds for Arena R25. So, yeah, perfect. I'll get that edited in. Thanks for the support. Punish for not leading on Cage. And again, like, one of the things, like, I think this idea that Modern needs to be fixed is silly. Like, if you think Modern needs to be fixed, that just means you shouldn't be playing Modern. Like, there are plenty of people, I don't know how many, that like getting Trond and like Blood Mooning and like Valakutting, and you should leave Modern to those people. Not every format of Magic has to appeal to every person. There's dozens of them, yep. Morning, Mr. Maple Syrup. I don't know what Modern should be. I know what it is, though. And I know that Wizards of the Coast has had plenty of opportunities to fundamentally change what Modern is, and they've declined to fundamentally change what Modern is for a long time. So we'll do this. We'll play a tap Stomping Ground. We'll attack for 3 here. We can block and make a food, and the next turn we can Cavalier of Gales. I think one day Pioneer will have the same problems as Modern. I think all non-rotating formats, if they are not managed properly via a ban list, are guaranteed to become more linear, less interactive, and more narrow as the format goes on. I know it sounds counterintuitive if you don't really understand how game design and formats work, but the more cards that are put into a format in an unmanaged way, the less playable cards that format will have. And the reason for that is very simple. It's as more cards are printed, there's more powerful interactions that you can find between them, and every powerful interaction that exists in the format pushes out other things from being playable. So as card pools get bigger, the playable card pool gets smaller in almost all scenarios if it's not managed via a ban list. More good cards equals less playable cards. Exactly correct. Well then. Huh? How would you describe degenerate with regards to Magic the Gathering if you're not using it to describe modern? What does that word mean to you? Because I feel like I need to have that conversation to understand where you're coming from. Because if modern in its current state doesn't classify as degenerate to you, I feel like nothing in Magic does. So I think I'm supposed to Cavalier of Gales first here. Not only does it give them an opportunity to... Not only does it give them the opportunity to play more things out into my Sweltering Suns, but it, if I kill my Goose, I don't currently have another way to, I don't currently have another way to, what's it called? I don't have another blue source. So I put the Sweltering Suns back on top of my deck here, because in the event they have a Thoughtseize, I want to hide it, because I'm going to redraw it next turn. What if they ever make a format that's a very long rotation? They won't. So that what you're describing is an old format called Extended, and it was wildly unpopular. The reason why formats like Pioneer and like Modern can gain traction and be popular is because people don't want their cards to rotate. A lot of people play Magic very cyclically, and they want to be able to know, if I take a 3 or 6 month or even a year break from playing whatever deck I have, assuming that deck doesn't get banned, they want to be able to come back and play that deck again. Standard is enough to keep people who are interested in rotating formats happy. That's real good. Oh gosh. I'm about to lose my hand. Why do people cheer bits versus sending tips? So bits come with various upsides for the person cheering them. You are correct that there's a little bit higher of a cut on bits versus not. But the flip side, really happy we hit the Sweltering Suns, huh? Kinda wish I would have hit both now. I had planned to scry away that other land that was there. But I'm gonna lose my hand here now. I also don't mind Twitch making money. Like if Twitch as a platform doesn't make money, it doesn't exist, and then I don't have a job. Bits also come with security for me as a streamer. Like chargebacks aren't a thing with bits. When someone cheers bits, it's guaranteed money. When someone donates money, when someone donates dollars on PayPal, it's technically not guaranteed money for me for over a year. People can issue a chargeback. I would prefer bits or donations to gifted subs at this point. Had too many problems with random gift subs being turds, so I'd encourage you, if you're looking to support my content, to do bits, do a higher tier sub yourself, or send a direct donation as opposed to gifting subs. Morning, Dude Light. Like one of the perks Twitch is going to be rolling out here soon for bits is, starting later this month, bits are going to give access to special emotes, which is neat. Oh yeah, I guess I technically have a Patreon too. I think the part you're missing on Hour of Devastation is that Hour of Devastation kills Planeswalkers, and Hour of Devastation deals 5 damage. So I think you're right. I think you're right that I'm actually just gonna time you out. I'm just so annoyed. I talked about that earlier. Like, it's just so, like, peak Twitch chat is like, but Jeff, There's a slightly better card you could be playing in this exact situation. Why aren't you playing the card that's slightly better in this exact situation instead of the more generic card that's better generically across the board? Why in this exact scenario right here? This scenario here very clearly demonstrates my points. Thanks for the bits, Quintius. I appreciate that. It's just so annoying. Like, I get it. When we're sitting here playing against the Prize Amalgam Scrap Heap Scrounger deck, I want Anger of the Gods in my deck. I get it. You're right. You're right that Anger of the Gods is better against the Scrap Heap Scrounger deck. I get it. I disagree with your assessment that it's the correct card to be playing in the format. I think the format could change, and like if the opponent's deck becomes a top tier deck in the format, then yeah, you definitely want to play Angering Gods instead of Sweltering Suns if you're expecting 1 in 5 matches to be against the deck that our current opponent's playing. However, in reality, where the rest of us live, where this is a format where I play against, 8 different decks in 10 matches most of the time, I'd rather have the one that cycles, just every single time. Oh gosh, they have an Assassin's Trophy? That's brutal. There goes our clock. I guess I get to... I get to shuffle here, I guess. Cycling is a great mechanic, I agree. Bottoms up. I just moved and have to find the new barber. It's the hardest part of moving. Barbers, eh? Well, we'll see if Oko can drag us across the finish line here. Driven to despair has just been super obnoxious out of the opponent's archetype. It's been really powerful. Yeah, I take care of my own beard, and when we cut my hair, my wife just uses the electric razor and cuts it short. Yeah, Modi, I think Hour is great. The fact that it kills Planeswalkers is sweet. So attacking with this means that they get to block with Citrus Supplier, which kind of sucks, but need to get through it eventually. I mean, having long hair isn't really hard. I'd like 10 plus inches of hair for like half a decade. It's really not difficult to maintain. Pictures. I don't know if I have pictures offhand anymore. Deleted my Facebook account a little while back, or deactivated it or whatever. Costly when it comes to washing it? Not really. Shampoo and conditioner is pretty cheap. Man, Driven to Despair. This card has just been nuts. Front half gives them trample, and when they deal damage to a player, draw a card, and back half gives them menace and makes us discard. So I'm taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here. And they can't attack with everything because they die on the backswing, right? They can only hit me with a couple of things here, but they have to draw a couple of cards when they do that. We might still be okay here on the back of Oko. That's interesting. I guess that makes sense that different types of hair need different types of products to keep them healthy. They have different... I'm not blocking because these have menace, so I can't block. What's my best draw here? Bonecrusher, maybe? Blue Cavalier into an untapped land. So, the fact that I don't have a third red source here is actually a big deal. Not only can I not cast this, but if I had a third red source, these would be lethal on their own. I guess actually untapped red source would have been our best draw there. I think I'm actually just attacking with both of these and then making a food. I think is my plan. Yeah, I think the plan is just like attack with these two and then just like gain 6 with the food. Seems pretty reasonable. I don't have anything else to do with my mana, so might as well hit them for an extra 1 here. Can we get a hair channel? I don't know about that one. I try to like I periodically go through the channels and like get rid of ones that aren't being used. Lingering Souls would have been too good for this format. I think, like, the reason we kept Innistrad out was because of things like Snapcaster Mage and Faithless Looting and Gristlebrand. Yeah, this pump there puts them dead to stomp. I'm gonna do this and stay at 4 just in case. I have Creeping Chill in hand. That's really good. Alright, Sweltering Suns is lethal. Hour of Devastation is lethal. Stomp is lethal. Sick. Yeah, the Cavalier trigger kills them. Oko making this a 3/3 also kills them, but the Cavalier trigger kills them. Just good clean living. Sweet. All right, well, we got a game there without... oh, I cut the Bonecrushers. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Huh. Would I rather have Bonecrusher than Rogue Refiner? That's a question. Yeah, I mean, the answer, Neo, is like, I don't know. We don't have data, right? Like, what you're asking me is to make a data-driven decision without the actual information to be able to intelligently make that decision. So the answer to your question is, I don't flipping know. I'm closing my eyes and picking at random, and I've chose to pick the card that's more flexible rather than the card that's more narrow. I guess that's not saying random is incorrect. We're making a conscious decision to play cards that are less narrow and more flexible. That's the decision that's being made here. I think that's the correct decision in general. Bonecrusher can block it. Not really. Like, they have Prize Amalgam and Scrap Heap Scrounger, so it doesn't really block, right? This hand's pretty bad, right? Like, double tapped land. Sweltering Suns I can't cast. Oh yeah, there's a wellness channel on Discord. That's totally what you want. That's the one. This is where the magic happens, chat. Yeah, the fact that you can't mass select decks is real tedious. Real tedious. One of the many small interface things that Arena completely fails at. As someone who goes through a lot of decks on Magic Arena, I feel for you. I don't know if it's the same on PC, but when I watch your videos on YouTube, the frame has been cutting off a decent chunk. I can only see the top part. That's definitely an issue on your end, Frozen Sky. If there was an issue seeing a good chunk of the board, other people would be talking about it. I don't know what your setup looks like to have that happen, but it's definitely an issue on you. It sounds like, did you accidentally scroll down on the video? Yeah, hold control and scroll or press plus or minus. Maybe your browser zoomed in. That's gross. They ditched a Driven, they ditched a Scrap Heap, and they ditched a Prize Amalgam. Man, this card just mind twisting us has been so brutal. Yeah, I agree, Golden Experience. I was hoping to, like, dive into the data, but, like, the fact that it hasn't been posted yet is really annoying. Ugh, wow, they delved a bunch of stuff there. That's interesting. Yeah, the lack of information surrounding Historic has definitely not been great. Big agree there. That was a good draw. Elk that one. Alright, let's draw an untapped land, huh? The top 4 of one of the Pioneer PTQs was 3x Oko food and 1 mono black. That's hilarious. Maybe Oko really will be the next thing to go. Bump blue, green, blue, Stompy. We'll do Thump. Am I even supposed to cast that? I feel like I'm not. Feel like we're just supposed to sit on it. I'll make a food with the Goose that if we like draw an untapped land, we can play Cavalier and discard the Fires to draw a new card. Alright, Satyr Wayfinder's just a 1/1 for 1 until they find a way to, They put nothing into their hand. Do they have another Delve creature? Because they declined to take the lands here. They must have another... Really? Weird. In full screen, the bottom and the top of the video is cropped out. YouTube is stretching the sides. It sounds like some kind of bug with the YouTube app then. No, there's nothing wrong with the videos. Works. Insert typical developer works for me response here. Can they get rid of Cage if we give it to them? That's an interesting thought. I don't think so. Ticket. Issue closed. Cannot recreate problem. Nah, most of the Shillionaires. In fact, would you even be a real honest-to-goodness Shillionaire if you weren't capitalizing on the work of a product that someone else has made to get there? I feel like obtaining Shillionaire status without doing something a little bit shady that someone else has put their blood, sweat, and tears into, like, that's like the fundamental to the American dream, right? It's like getting there on the sweat of others. Pretty sure I built this myself. Yeah, I bet. I'm gonna hold on to the Rogue Refiner, I think. Yeah, so like, just to talk about this some more, can they do anything if I give them the Cage? Oh, it protects it from trophy. That's hilarious. That's so funny. Giving them cage is actual upside because they can't trophy it anymore. That's disgusting. That's great. It's actually just pure upside to give them the cage. Unless they have like 4 mana Vraska, like this is all upside. They need to have explicitly artifact sacrifice, right? Which is like pretty uncommon. You're not a good person. Oh, that's great. I'm intimidated by all these zones. Don't worry, Golden Experience. You'll get there someday. Don't be intimidated. Look up to them. Someday you will join their ranks. I haven't mathed yet, but I think they're dead. They go block, block, and then they take 2, 4, 6, 12. Yeah, they're dead, right? Geese are about to get frisky. The mod icon changed ever so slightly. They did in fact change it a little bit. Yeah, Goose was very, very, very good. All right, fingers crossed we'll draw a 23rd land, or a 4th land in our 26th land deck. 23 left in the deck. Is Goose better than Birds? In certain matchups, Goose is much better than Birds of Paradise. Ginger Cakes, thanks for the 29 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Crunch. A lot of elves, friendo. All right, running lands, please, deck. I would like to not add another chapter to my memoirs. Winding Constrictor. Okay. So let's get double +1 with Winding Constrictor then? It does. That's sweet. Land. Willed it into being, chat. Let's petty theft that one. Yeah, that's probably accurate, Percy. Pioneer's been good. Oh, God. Well, shoot. So she puts a counter on everything, and Whining Constrictor doubles up counters. Instead of drawing a 5th land, we drew another uncastable 5-drop. Feels magic, man. Feels magic, man. Yeah, I need to... Not really, like, there's 1 month from tomorrow is the next Arena MCQ. So, need to figure out what exactly I want to be doing for that. The 16th is supposed to be... The 16th's the next generic ban list update. Hopefully we see a historic ban list update on that day. To a degree, HJ. So one of the defining features of formats that I think are widely considered good is how much the power level discrepancy there is between decks that are considered good and decks that are considered bad. So, for example, in formats that players widely tend to consider better, the power level difference between the best decks and the next best decks tends to be closer. And, like, there's obviously always going to be a best deck somewhere, but, like, how much better that best deck is definitely a metric that changes format to format. A good format has a defensible tier 2. Yeah, exactly. I think that's a good descriptor. I also think one of the things that Standards really struggled with since the banning of Field of the Dead is that all of these big mana green strategies are harder to attack than Field of the Dead was to attack. If you really wanted to beat a Field of the Dead deck, you could beat Field of the Dead. Like, the axis through which you attack these other decks, these Nissa Hydroid Crisis decks, it's tough. Like, you're just not, like, I don't feel like you have the tools to really go toe-to-toe with them in most things in the format. That was not particularly close. Trying to lean on red sweepers against the Hardened Scales deck, not super great. There. Yeah, Guilds of Rav Standard is gonna always have a special place in my heart. Even Ravnica's Allegiance Standard was like pretty okay. Nexus was a Wilderness Reclamation was a bit of a stain, but it wasn't too bad. War of the Spark was the nosedive point. If you asked me to pinpoint for you where it all went wrong, that would definitely be it. Joke's on you, I didn't want these spells anyways. Yep. Okay, that cycle's on the line at least. In, right? That I can fetch an island and cast that next turn. So like be on the mid-range Cavalier plan. I'm hoping that people figure out reasonable aggro decks in Standard in the next month. So that way, if people figure out reasonable aggro decks, Blue-Red Flash is probably decent. But if people aren't playing aggro, Blue-Red Flash is probably just much worse than playing Blue-Green. I'd imagine the Blue-Red Flash deck's a bit of a dog to the Blue-Green Flash deck hippity. You can probably punk them out sometimes with Embercleave, because that card's just great, but... Okay. These are my Cavaliers. Yeah, a lot of the blue-red cards just don't really have great text boxes against I'm gonna say no blocks here because I want to redraw this Fires. Ha! You know, I could actually play this and give haste here. I mean, Slaying Fire still does 3, right? It does 3 for 3 mana. Bad Lightning Strike is probably... Bad Lightning Strike's probably still playable. I'd put money on Bad Lightning Strike being playable. You went up to 26 lands. I've always been on 26 lands. Maybe you have to give up the Blast Zone. I've got a Blast Zone in my 26 land blue-red deck. Slaying Fire seems neat. And Embercleave, I do feel like not nearly enough people are playing Embercleave. Embercleave's kind of nutso in that deck. Like, I think Jensen had 1 in his sideboard, which I think makes a big difference. Alright, so they're dead. Yeah, they were like sideboarding it, right? They weren't like playing 2 main and a third in the board. Hey chat, I think my 5-drops might be better than their 5-drops. Oh. All right, so is it crazy you just click submit? I guess Sweltering Suns might not be that good here. If I were to play Sweltering Suns with, like, Royal Scions and Vivien. Is Scions actually that good against... Scions probably isn't that good against Questing Beast, huh? Hour of Devastation seems okay. Let's swap in these. The first deck we're going to play today in Standard, the Standard portion is actually Blue-Green Flash with Splash for Teferi and some sideboard cards. Interested to see how that feels. Whoa! Wizards of the Coast has announced that they're moving the 2019 Magic World Championship to be played on Magic Arena. There's a link. Here's a link if you want to share it. Oh no. Oh no. Someone else just pointed that out. There's also the issue of the digital shuffler over tabletop shuffling. The truth is out there, sheeple. The shuffler's as rigged as the earth is flat. They're coming for you. They're coming for you. Good golly, people are stupid. Holy crap. Holy crap. It's just... It's just... God. All right, hold on. I gotta tweet. This is just dumb enough. I'm gonna pause and tweet. I'm gonna pause and tweet. It's been a while since we've tweeted on stream, but like... Reading passages like this takes me back to teaching intro statistics classes. The level at which many people understand even basic statistics is frustratingly low. It's impressive how many people think random actually means uniformly distributed. Close quote. Yep. Just so incredibly frustrating. Ah, I think Chrome locked up. Hold on, un moment. All right, do y'all still see me? Do y'all still see me? Okay, cool. Sorry about that. I don't know if the screen flicked or whatever, but my Google Chrome just died and tried to take my X server with it. It's good quality software. Apologies for the delay. Yeah, we're just passing back to myself here, right? I'm gonna shock this in and play Rogue Refiner. That discussed actual data. No, stop it. How's the Chipotle spot going? I don't know if we're gonna get that one, unfortunately. Correct. Yes. The idea that Wizards like hand-coded their own randomization function instead of like using a built-in one, and like they hand-coded one that's broken is just utter nonsense. I would love a land, thank you. Oh yeah, we're muting. We've muted and blocked a lot of people. I actually haven't even been using the mute function. I've just been blocking people on Twitter. It's a lot more satisfying to block stupid people than it is to mute them. When you block someone, it lets them know that they messed up. Just let them know how you really feel. Basically anybody who tweets anything at me that would get them timed out in my chat, I just block them instead of responding. Life's just simpler that way. I guess that's not completely true. If they have followers over a certain threshold, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But random egg accounts and random anime pictures, they don't get a second chance. People without icons. Listen, I would say nothing nothing against you personally if you're someone with an anime picture, but I'm just gonna let you know that if you've got an anime picture for whatever your profile picture is anywhere, you're not representing the best of the best on the internet. In fact, quite the contrary, you're kind of representing the dredges of the internet. Let me preface this with saying I know little to nothing about statistics. This is a devil's advocate argument for the shuffler thing. No, there's not. There's actually just not. Here's a good piece of advice that applies to Magic and actual everything else. The devil has enough advocates. If the only good reason you can think of to make an argument is you're being the devil's advocate, your argument sucks, full stop, shut up. Just full stop, turn around and try and think of something else. The devil does not need you to advocate for them. Alright, so we know what Vivien's doing next turn. That's their last cards. They're like on Sylvan Advocate and then nothing else. Sick. Speaking of sick. Man, artifacts are really bad against this pair of planeswalkers, huh? Because you like name one and then the other one gets you. Give them the old one too. I don't personally have all these crappy opinions. I just like to portray that I do on the internet, which is totally cool, guys. Devil's advocate. Yeah, basically. There's an argument that Wizard doesn't need to use the same randomization arena as they do in paper, akin to what they do with Best of 1. Sure, but they don't do that for Best of 3, and they're upfront about how they do it for Best of 1. All right, this is the rubber band match, the burrito match, chat. We are currently 2-2 in this league. If we win this match, we are up $7, which is approximately one Chipotle burrito. However, if we lose, we only get 5 buckaroos instead of 12. That's tough, chat. Gotta win this to eat today. I will let you know that if you get a vegetarian burrito at Chipotle, guac is included. And the guac's way better than any of the meat they have, so basically you should be eating the vegetarian burrito. That's all I'm saying. I think I was going to 1-for-1 this year. I don't really want them to magma spray my my Rogue Refiner. Next turn we can go tap land Refiner. Two below? Yikes. Davriel. Yeah, I guess that's a legal Magic card. That card is definitely Pioneer legal. I'd like to stomp on his face. Guac is also green, which is really strong in the meta right now. Math checks out. Goblin Brabblemaster. Yep, it's a pretty good one. Bones build sweet. Black-red mid-range stuff. Alright, looking for another Stompy friend here. Maybe I'm supposed to play Bonecrusher so I don't have a threat that dies to shock. Because, like, if they shock or magma spray this, I'm going to take 6 here. Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to play this. Well, they both would have died to that. Brabblemaster kills people really quickly. Okay. Oh, you know what? I should play the passage there, right? Because having a fetch land post, what's it called, would be better. I want to start holding lands at this point. So that way I can, discard them to Red Cavalier if I draw it. Joke's on you. I've got no thoughts left to seize. Legion War Boss. There's on like 4+. Interesting sequencing here. Definitely should have done that before playing this. Alright, Cavalier into Sweltering Suns. Let's do it. There we go. Am I supposed to cast this, or am I supposed to just cast Bonecrusher Giant? I think I may be supposed to cast Bonecrusher Giant. I'm going to cycle this. That might be wrong. Good night. Brutal. Yeah. Ditching the Sweltering Suns there is probably wrong. Hey, Jat. Thanks for the 39 months. Gosh, it's been a long time. Hope the left coast is treating you well. Alright, looking for Cav into stuff. We're through 3 Sweltering Suns here. He might just be dead. I guess I could hit Cav into Cav and kill them, huh? Which is one of the fun things about this deck. Alright, step 1. Yeah, I mean... It wasn't Cav into Cav kill them, but it was pretty good, right? We could die here. Like I am at 5 and they have a Chandra. The good news is, if I don't die, we're in a pretty good spot. We have Gilded Goose to start gaining life, and I have Cav to kill their Chandra. I get to scry away. It's worth noting, too, remember when I said this should have been... Remember when I said this should have been the other land? If this had been Fabled Passage, I'd actually have 2 extra looks here, which is a big deal. So my mis-sequencing on my lands earlier this game could end up costing me. Hey, thanks for the 2 months, Sin Faith. I appreciate that. Welcome back. A lot of little micro decisions in this deck for sure. So I'm going to end step, scry away the 2 bricks I put on top of my deck, and then we'll upkeep, scry again, and then I still have 2 mana left over. They're not dead to red Cav, right? Because they have a blocker. Yeah, I'm gonna top Rogue Refiner here. It blocks. I should technically play Rogue Refiner first. I don't think there's anything in my deck that I can draw that's gonna make me do something other than Goose, though. Feel like we're stabilizing here. I think I'm going to add this one up to the website. I've liked how this played out. It's our second league in a row where it felt pretty reasonable. Looking to expand some more Sweet Pioneer decks up there. And I think even if they ban Oko, some form of this is probably pretty close to reasonable. I can probably reuse... Where's my Cavalier banner from Standard look like? Yeah, sweet. I have double Cavalier Fires banner already, so I don't have to pay for a new banner. Correct, yeah, yesterday was no bans. I'm gonna say no blocks here because I don't think anything can deal 4 to me for 2 mana. If I block, the castle kills whatever blocks. So I want to be able to use the Goose to like make food and stuff. Huh? I'm gonna bottom this. Sick. Good beats. The token does keep randomly flickering, doesn't it? Oh, Moto. I guess we could theoretically die here. They could have, like, Wild Slash, but I'd also be kind of surprised if they have Reach that hits us, because, like, they played Fiery Impulse and Magma Spray, which kind of implies they're not on Wild Slash, I think. Unless they're just, like, playing a total mix of things. That game was a sweet example of our ability to pivot. Glorybringer could have killed us with my line. Yeah, I guess that's possible. Brazen Borrower seems pretty medium here. Royal Scions seems fine. Hour of Devastation clears their board, including Chandra. Would I actually rather have that instead of Scions? More sweepers against the Infinite Rabblemaster deck sounds appealing, huh? I think it's just that. Just like swap Borrower for Hour. Borrower's been pretty mediocre. It's like, fine. We should probably test Sphinx of Foresight in this deck at some point. Like, I feel like maybe, like, I don't know if these Aether Hubs are good. Maybe we cut the Borrowers and 2 Rogue Refiners and play 4 Sphinx of Foresight. I think that card's really good in the standard build, and it could be good here. Yeah, Hour kills their Chandra the turn after she pluses as well, which is great. Let's try it. Let's try this. I think 2 of these is probably fine. The Ruric Thars are there for Nexus. Please play a Goblin. Thanks. So, any of their shocks will kill this, but they'll have to take 4 to kill him, so that sounds pretty good. Fires of Invention's a great draw. Hoping to draw a 3-mana spell next turn. So we can go Fires into that. You got me. Hey, chat, you think their red-black deck can take my Fires off the table? Perfect. I'm going to grab a second blue here. Or a third blue, so that way I can get my scry on. Maybe I'm supposed to hold on to that. I don't know, this flashes back Rampage eventually. Alright, do you have 2 Thoughtseizes? Because you need 2 Thoughtseizes. I'm not really surprised there. I mean, like, if you look at the deck list, energy decks have, like, put up some fringe results. I just don't think they're good enough. The big thing is that energy decks energy decks are so synergy driven that a lot of their slots are dictated. And your decks just don't get meaningfully better with a bigger card pool. I'm going to lead on this in case it draws a blank here. Sweet. Grr. Grr. Arg. Dedicated food decks will be the same. Potentially, Oko's such a good card on an individual power level perspective that it might have more staying power. Reid. Maybe I should have shocked in the land so I could, like, cycle Sweltering Suns. That's probably not right. Sure, you have a Legion War Boss. I guess if I don't scry here... Oh, they don't have to attack with this. If I don't scry, they have to chump block, but that's not true, so I'm going to go ahead and scry. Honestly, I think I'm in for a second Rogue Refiner. Just, like, good enough at this point. Yeah, that's true. I don't know, like, actually, I don't even know if that's true. So, like, a big difference, too, is, Fearburger, if you look at the number of cards you have to play to make energy decks good, it's a lot more than the number of cards you have to play to make food decks good. Like, the food package is literally just like Oko, Goose, Wicked Wolf, whereas energy requires a ton of cards. Yeah, Champion of Wits is something to consider, too. So, I'm going to be putting this deck up on the website. I've definitely been happy with the performance of it. It feels like the core power level is definitely here. The slots that I'm not sold on are these 6. I think there's a lot of different things we could try in these slots. So Champion of Wits was one that just got mentioned that could potentially be sweet. I think Sphinx of Foresight is worth trying. I'm probably going to put the list up on my website with Sphinx in it, because I think that card's pretty individually powerful, probably worth playing. Like, Fires into Sphinx is pretty good. It could just leave Rogue Refiner too, I don't know. These are like the 6 slots that I would play with, all things considered. Out of the sideboard cards that I'm convinced that are good, Risen Reef could be reasonable too. The problem with Risen Reef is that it doesn't really do much inside of combat, and like having a reasonable body on Refiner is like super relevant. So like I kind of want other things that are good in combat. So as far as the sideboard goes, I'm pretty confident in these 9 slots. Hour of Devastation is like super overperformed. The fact this is like a sweeper that hits opposing planeswalkers is great. It frequently doesn't kill our own Oko, which is nice. 4 pieces of Graveyard Hate, I think is fine. Scooz plus Grafdigger's Cage feels like an appropriate mix. Vivien's really overperformed. Having ways for her plus Oko to deal with artifacts and enchantments has felt pretty reasonable. And I don't really know, like, these last 6 slots, these cards are fine, but we haven't really played enough matches with them for me to say confidently, like, these cards are great. All right, look at that. Almost exactly an hour 45, which is my goal.